My room was actually in upstairs. So my room was where Mrs. Radosevich's room is, and then the chemistry teacher was where Mr. Dorman was, and there was a prep room in between that. Okay, and I was only in that room for a year. It needed much improvement. So to me, even though this room here is like 26 years old, like I feel like to me it's still a new room because that was a really old room. So I think a lot of your parents, when I had them in school, did not even go into that. So if your parents graduated before 94, you would have been in that room. They would have been in that room. If it was after 94, they would have been in this room. So, or 95 actually. 94, 95 was the last year that I was in there. Okay, so yeah, so there was a prep room in between. When I first got this job, I went into that prep room and I had no idea what was in there. I opened up that cabinet and I was like, whoa. And so I tried to ask people, lots of different people, where'd that guy come from? We have no idea. We think that possibly the more research I've done is that it could have been a homeless person. That maybe it was purchased by a biological supply company. If I try to get a skeleton now in any of my catalogs, it's going to look like this. It's going to be plastic. So I have seen them on eBay before, which is really weird. You can buy a human skeleton on eBay. That would be highly suspect. All right, Jack. Let me go back here real quick. So quick review, especially for those of you who slept last night. Okay, we're going to have a quiz on, let's put a chromosome for a minute here. We'll pop them back up here. Okay, our phones down, please. Thank you. All right, we're going to have a quiz on Thursday. Okay, so not tomorrow, on Thursday. It's 6 questions. It's going to be 12 points, and it's going to be the easiest thing on the planet. I think I'm going to give you all the answers today. Okay, so pay attention. No cat, buddy. I will give them all. All right, so here we go. So remember yesterday we looked at climate diagrams. We've been talking about all of these different changes in the environment. We started off talking about abiotic and biotic things, right? Living and non-living. Okay, from there we went into talking about things like cycles, carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle. Then we moved to the succession. If you remember, you guys right here were what? What are you? Rocks, right? What are you supposed to be? Moss and lichens, yeah? Grass, your small trees and shrubs. Your small trees and shrubs, your big trees, your climax, right? And your farming and fire, right here, the secondary succession. We know that's what changes over time. At one point, we were all rock. Okay, when the earth was new. My kids have a really cool kids book called When the Earth Was New. And it was all about just how this big fireball of rock was here. And we still have that. We still have new rock forming. Yesterday we watched a little clip from that great show called One Strange Rock. The reason why it's called One Strange Rock is because we are all on a big old rock, right? Okay, and some of the new rock is formed thanks to that molten islands. Don't do that. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. Okay, so then we got Jason Derulo, right? Right here on the bottom, we got Jason Derulo. We've got temperature, and we've got precipitation. And those are the two things, okay, that make us, that allow us to look at different climates. So we're going to look through different biomes. And yesterday we looked at the tropical rainforest. Okay, the key thing with the tropical rainforest is constant temperatures, okay, and a ton of precipitation. When I look at this next picture, though, this is tropical dry. We looked at this and we realized that, yeah, you could still be a tropical area because it's tropical because it's got pretty constant temperatures. It's not classified as a rainforest because it has a ton of rain, but only during one rainy season, not consistently throughout, right? So that's where we left off yesterday, tropical rainforest and tropical dry forest. Let's look at tropical grasslands, and I think all of us in this room have probably seen a clip from like Planet Earth. And my favorite Planet Earth is the Planet Earth of, keep it down just a little bit, thanks, is the Planet Earth of David Attenborough. He's a British dude. I love the British accents. There's also different narrators, Sigourney Weaver and James Earl Jones. But David Attenborough, he's like this 90-year-old guy that's, here, I'll take that, thanks. And he is he's talking about like all this cool stuff that's happening on planet Earth. Anyways, if you've ever seen any movies about Africa, it looks like this giant expanse with just these pockets of little trees. We call that tropical grassland, and we have grasslands around here, but the temperatures are not the same. Okay, here, once again, notice all three of these, what they have in common is, boom, same temperature, same temperature, same temperature, but what's changing is the amount of rainfall, right? Okay, so in these cases, it's not about what animals live there, it's not about what plants live there, it's about the temperature and the precipitation. Here in the tropical grassland, abiotic, frequent fire set by lightning, big, compact, hard soils. Think about, this blue line farmers. Last year I was talking with Clay Little, and Clay Little, he's a farmer and he's got a lot of land, and we were talking about soil compaction, and we were talking about rotating crops. We're also talking about cover crops. We're talking about protecting the soil, and we were talking about tilling. Okay, and specifically, I got really interested, and this never occurred to me. Okay, maybe this occurred to you guys because you experienced it. So farmers, you hit me back and you can say, boy, that was dumb. You should have realized this. Okay, we talked about a certain area and whether or not they were tilling it. And he said, sometimes that ground just gets compacted so hard. I'm like, well, why does it get compacted so hard? And he goes, have you seen those new tractors that have the treads on them rather than the tires? And you know what I'm talking about? They look like something out of Star Wars. Those treads, okay, or it looks like a bulldozer kind of tread. And I was like, hey, why do they have those? He's like, it's less compaction on the soil. He's like, we on our farms have a lane where we like to go in for harvest season, and that soil on the right and the left of that lane is completely different than the soil that's on the lane. Because think about how heavy those trucks are that are filled with whether it's corn or beans. And mind blowing, I never ever thought about that soil. And he said, you gotta learn like where you're gonna put that machinery, right? You with me on this, guys? Yeah. And I was like, well, why doesn't everybody have those kind of tires? He said, well, we didn't know about compaction like we do now. And also, those tractors are really, really expensive. And people can't just say, like, I'm going to get the newest thing on the market at any time, right? Is that right? Yeah. Why are you laughing? Am I saying something wrong? No. Is my information correct?
Probably something completely different.
Okay, so it's not, you're not laughing at like what I'm saying. Okay, I was like worried, like my mind was blown. I was like, I thought you were like, oh, this guy doesn't know anything. He's a city boy, right? There we go. Okay, so think about these animals. Think about, you've seen these wildebeest going across. You've seen these like animals like migrating, just pounding in that soil. Yeah, pretty crazy. All right, let's look at the desert. This should be key right here, right? Hot temps, but there can be cold deserts, there can be warm deserts. But look at that precipitation, really super low. Abiotic, of course, varying temperatures, but low precipitation. Notice before, that red line was straight across. Now we're looking at precipitation, small plants, not a ton of trees. Mrs. W, the sub, Tova, okay, she's got short blonde hair. She showed me pictures and she was going to send them to me later. If not, she went to Saguaro National Park, or maybe it's actually a national preserve. But they've got these kind of cool cactuses, with the arms. I've never been to Saguaro, but they're really, really stinking cool. All right, tip of grassland. We have grasslands around here. That would be out west. Think South Dakota. Think Dances with Wolves. Any Dances with Wolves people out there? You seen that movie? Nobody see Dances with Wolves? Oh man, it's a classic. Oh, you did? Oh, cool. Everybody knows about the bison and how we had millions and then we shot them all. Okay, but what's very, very key about this, notice what's happening. I'm getting more precipitation, but my temperatures are hotter than temperate deciduous forests. Not a lot of trees. Has anybody been to South Dakota? Has anybody been out west, Kansas? Okay, if you've ever been to Kansas or Nebraska, there are signs that say you will not get gas for the next 100 miles because literally it's nothing but fields on both sides, right? And it looks like this: nothing but green grass fields, or if not grass, then corn or beans. Oh yeah, man. I've done the same thing. And oh man, isn't it like, you're like, how do people live out here? You know, it's insane. My wife, Hannah, her aunt lives in a town called Portis, Kansas. And Portis, Kansas has a population of like 20. And their nearest Walmart, okay, we think we've got that, is 2.5 hours away. Like they have you know where they get most of their food from? And this is weird to me, okay? Most of their food comes from the Schwan Man. Okay, so it's a delivery service. You guys ever see that yellow truck? Yeah. They bring like frozen pizzas and ice cream. That's how they get their food. The Schwan Man stops by like once every couple of weeks instead of driving. Can you imagine like drive? Yeah, right. Yeah, pretty crazy. That, man. Yeah. Okay, so biotic, once again, biotic, grazing, fire, small animals, that sort of thing. All right, let's look at temperate woodland and shrubland. Okay, when we look at this, Jack, why don't you go right now before I forget? Okay, to the guide spot. All right. Myra, this should look incredibly familiar to you, right here. Okay, so yeah, just leave your stuff here. I think you'll be back, right? Okay. All right. Yeah. Go to the, you know, when you look at the front office, it's off to the right. All right. So this says Los Angeles, California. But when I see this picture, I instantly think of the San Bernardino Mountains. I mean, when I went there for the first time this summer, I'd never been to those mountains before. And so have you ever been to Colorado? Yeah. You guys been to Colorado? Okay. When I think about Colorado, I think mountains, and I think like these giant coniferous trees, right? I think of snow caps, and yes, I was there at San Bernardino Mountains in the summertime. But there's not, you look across a mountain in Colorado, guys, keep these pictures. Okay, you look across the mountain in Colorado, and you see like these giant coniferous trees, you know, it looks like a scene that you would see in some, you know, movie with mountains, right? When you look at the San Bernardino Mountains, it's like these hills, okay, and then mountains behind it, but there's no trees on them. Okay, they're not these, I mean, there's trees on them, but it's not these ginormous, like you look at them, like I'm standing on top of Crab Flats is where I camp, there by Arrowwood, and I look out and I could just see, I could look straight down into cities. If you're on the mountains of Colorado, you can't see, like, I can't be like, oh, there's Denver, okay, because I'm surrounded by trees. This would be kind of a Mediterranean, they call it temperate woodland, shrubland, also chaparral. Okay, very, very different. But notice, look what happens, a very dry period, and what happened in California this summer, and for every summer for the last, wildfires, right? For the last 10 years, I feel like. The one was called 5 years ago. Right? Well, anyway, so there you go. There's a dry season, right? And that's what makes that really interesting. Here's us, of course. Right now, my favorite tree just right outside this door, it's turning a wonderful, it's a red maple. It's turning this wonderful red color and yellows. Check it out. We know that there's cold winters, warm summers, fertile soils. That's why farming is so good. And then don't forget that term, deciduous, right? Deciduous means I'm losing those leaves. Right. Okay, Northern Coniferous Forest, I highly recommend, if you ever get a chance, go to Oregon, go to Washington. It's unbelievable. Anybody been to Oregon, Washington? Oregon, Washington? Okay, it's super, super cool. On the way out today, check out this picture. I think I pointed out before. Sam, could you sit right up here, please? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, just bring all your stuff and just sit right there. That'd be great. Yep, thanks. Yes.
So whenever I went to Colorado, because it's where my cousins used to live.
Yes.
So, you know, they wanted to play football once I got there and I stepped out and we started running and stuff. I'm
yes.
used to it, and it was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I could not catch my breath.
Completely different, right? Completely different. All right. So this Northern Coniferous Forest, if you check out redwoods and sequoias, if you look at this picture, and I'm not going to take it off, just look at it. There's these little red and yellow dots on this picture, and it looks like somebody just took a marker and marked on that. Those are not just random dots. Those are people that study the microclimates of these giant redwood trees. And it's pretty amazing. I asked you to stop that like 1,000 times. Okay? One more time, that's it. Okay? I'm going to lose it. Okay? It's really easy. Don't turn the water off. You got it? Thank you very much. All right, we got just a couple more and then I'll be done. All right, boreal forest. Something real close to us. What's this make me think of?
Snow,
Right. What's the scene look like?
winter.
What's that? Christmas tree. Oh, I like that. That's not where I was going. I was thinking of a location like close to us.
Snow.
I think
Christmas
Michigan.
trees.
I think Michigan. You guys been to Michigan?
No.
Right? Okay. When you're driving it, I won't forget, like, I think the first time I drove to Michigan, I was like your age, and I'm driving, like, up Highway, with my parents, up 69, and like, all of a sudden, it completely changes from, like, Indiana to, like, this, winter wonderland of these coniferous trees, right? And so, it also made me nervous thinking about when I became a driver, because the median in a lot of those Michigan roads are not just like, you can't just see the traffic going the other way. There's tons of coniferous trees, great spots for cops to hide. You know what I'm talking about there? Okay, so coniferous trees are different than deciduous trees. There's our Christmas trees, right? And so we got these long, cold winters. Look, this is Fairbanks, Alaska. Okay, and notice the cold temps and low precipitation. Here's probably one of my favorites of all time, and that's the tundra. I want you to look at this picture, and then I want you to look at this picture. And what's the main thing that's missing right here?
On the ground.
Okay, trees. There's no trees. The tundra has no trees. In fact, it's such a short growing season that there's little precipitation. The temperatures are so cold that trees will never grow here. They do have a really interesting soil called a permafrost. Pretty neat, but highly acidic soil. Okay, small plants, small animals, many of them migrate. Okay, so here's going to be your quiz. So I am going to show these things. Now these look a little different than the ones we just looked at right here. Okay, same kind of thing, but I put a little bit more data on here. Okay, if you notice, there's degrees C, there's degrees Fahrenheit. I've got, the months, there's Jason Derulo. Here we got inches, we got centimeters, but instead of a red line and blue, okay, I've got these bars. Okay, here was my red line before. Okay, what do you think these bars represent? What about the temperature change, though? Okay, definitely it's still going up, but what about just this bar right here? Yeah, so the lows and the highs. Okay, so the month of January, okay, I've got a low in this one of about, let's say 18 degrees Fahrenheit, 33 degrees is the high in January. Y'all with me on that? Does that make sense, everybody? Because I really want to make sure that you all know how to read that. Daniela, you with me in the back? You understand? Tony, how about you, buddy? Okay, guys? Hey, you guys got it on there? Okay, so here's the first one. Here's the second. I want you to look at the shapes, and then we'll talk about what they are in a second. Okay, here we've got another one. Here we've got another one.
Oh, wow.
Here we've got another one. And then here we've got another one. Okay, just 6 simple ones. Let's start with this one, then we'll go backwards. All right, which biome do you think this is? Which biome is this? Okay, from the list I gave you, I know you don't have the list in front of you, but just think hard. Yes. Nice guess. The temperatures are way too hot for the tundra, but you were right about the precipitation. Desert. Okay, this is the desert. Okay, very low temperatures, very, very low temperatures. But here we've got, very, very low precipitation, almost no precipitation here. We've got temperatures that rise in the summer, okay, and don't get really low. All right, this one should be an easy one. Okay, how about this one? Rainforest, you got it, Sam. Tons of precipitation, and notice that the temperatures never change. Okay, they're pretty stable throughout the entire time. All right, let's go to this one. Okay, this one. Okay, great. You got dry forest. Okay, there was one where there was just a total dry period right here. This would be that area in California, that chaparral. I would also kind of go. Some grasslands in North America would do this. Notice hot temperatures, okay, but really low precipitation in the middle months. Who we got? Hey! Okay, I knew you'd be back. All right, now let's take a look. Let's go back for Jack. Jack, Real quickly, this is going to be where your quiz is going to be on Friday. Okay, so this is precipitation. Okay, low precipitation, that's a desert. This is a rainforest. Very even temperatures. Here we got a lot of precipitation. Okay, here is going to be that chaparral or savanna. It's got tons of different names. I would accept grassland on this one as well. Okay, or dry forest too. How about this one? Really low precipitation. It's super low temps. Really cold and
Tundra.
the tundra. You got it, Sam. You
Boy,
got it.
I'm
Absolutely.
winning.
You are. Yeah, you're nailing it. All right, we got two more left.
Maybe I
Okay, we
can
got
actually.
this one, and then we got this one. Okay, either A, okay, or B. Okay, watch this again. A or B. One of them is us. Okay, and one of them is Michigan. Okay. Okay, nice try. A is actually us. Here's why. Look at the temperature. The temperature does not get as low. Notice this one here, we're about 18 degrees. Notice this one here, we're down to about 9 degrees. So this would be that coniferous forest, and this would be the temperate deciduous forest. Okay, what I'm going to do for you, okay, and literally, this is how this quiz, this is like the easiest points in the world. But tomorrow, we'll review these again. Okay, and then what we're also going to do is I'm going to give you a little sheet to study, but this will be on a Google form. I will have these pictures on there, and you tell me which biome it is. Okay, I'll even make it multiple choice,
Oh, look.
just
Make it
just
true or
for
false.
fun. True or false? Yeah. That would be good. All right, real quickly, I want to point out one other quick thing. This is the end of the 9 weeks. Okay, and as I'm looking at some things, there's some people that need to do some work. After Friday, you will get zeros on all of these assignments. Please do not do this. I have 11 people that did not turn in 4.2. That's Sam, Isaac, Sladen, Michael, Lincoln,
Oh, crap.
Kay,
I didn't turn that in.
Tyler, Haley, Trace, Evan, Olivia. That's 4.2. Here is 4.1. Okay, 4.1. There are 2 people that didn't turn that in. Janessa, for some reason, don't have that from you. You can turn that in. And Michael, okay, don't have it from him. Let me show you one other thing real quickly. On the Nearpod, most of you have done this. Okay, so when I log in, I'll show you what it shows me, how this works. That's officially due tonight. Okay, so if you did not turn this Nearpod in, okay, I want to show you where that is. Hold on a quick second.
Hey, Jack.
What did you do, Sam?
Yeah, my
What did you say?
Yeah, Sam, could you get, or sorry, Jack, could you get back your seat? Zach, can you get back your seat? Thank you. All right, so if I see your name, Trace, Steven, Sam, Zach, Isaac, Tyler, Kaylee, Chelsea, Jack, Presley, Lauren, Sladen, Lincoln, Kimberly, Myra, Sloan, Peyton, Daniela, if you did that, if you did not hear your name, I do not have your Nearpod, okay? So please, okay, turn that in for points.